Really voice okay va? Clear hai? Done? Okay, nice. Yep, I think I've shunted things down. Just hold on. Very good afternoon. Okay, last session we had to cut off by 3 minutes, but anyway, it's totally fine that we were able to do it. So let me just give you the lesson plan for today, and then we'll start with the session. And I think today we can considerably cover a lot of ground. Fine. So today's lesson plan. So we will be finishing the description of Middle Eastern region, no doubt. So description for Middle Eastern region, that's the first part. And let me make this clear. I know that bilateral relations class is over for your batch. You already told me. So a lot of things regarding Middle East, be it Shia-Sunni conflicts, be it the formation of ISIS, then the relationship with Arab Spring, I believe those should have been handled. So what we'll be looking at is the historical aspect. I believe history would also have been handled, but still, I'll need to brush up some elements to get you ready for world history sessions. Okay, so historical aspects and then the economic aspects. So, and physiography. So that will be the part where we will focus more rather than current affairs and politics. Okay, because the session is over. The next part will be, we'll have mnemonics. And through these mnemonics, we'll continue to share possibly till China. So Russia to China, possibly. Once you've done it, I think we can go for description from Russia to Korea. China, we will see, like depending upon time constraint, we'll see whether we can proceed for that. Okay, so this is the lesson plan for today. So we shall start with the description of the Middle Eastern region. Okay, just hold. Yes, fine. I think we can comfortably start. So the first country we started with yesterday was Turkey. Okay. Now, Turkey, you need to understand in terms of historical aspect. Why is this country very important? See, several empires have ruled the world, and at different periods of time, different empires will be very powerful. So one such empire in Turkey was Ottoman Empire. I introduced Ottoman Empire when we discussed European physiography, where I told that the influence of Ottoman Empire spreads across Southern Europe, and that is the reason Northern and Southern Europe have some cultural and political differences. So if you want me to explain like which time period is there, can we say is the height of their power, it is between 15th and 16th century. So 15th and 16th century, you can say that Ottoman Empire is the most powerful empire in the world. After 16th century also, it does exist. It is there in 17th, and of course it is there till the end of World War I. But the point is, its maximum extent is in 15th and 16th century. So if you look at the areas where the Ottoman Empire existed, so you had sections of multiple regions. For example, okay, you take your regions of North Africa, okay, so parts of Egypt, parts of Algeria was under Ottoman Empire control. You take the regions of Turkey, today what we call is Israel, Palestine, Syria, Jordan, so all of them were under Ottoman Empire control, and good section into Saudi Arabia also, not entire Saudi Arabia, but a section of Saudi Arabia, and it extended even into Europe, like Southern European section. Fine, it extended, past tense, it extended till Hungary. I think you understand where Hungary is. Hungary is quite deep into your Central European segment. Okay, so it was present till then. Okay. So there is one query to repeat mnemonics as last class was cut off. See, after the video was cut off, I did not even add one single word. So it was ending with rushing to Russia. Is it clear? So Ottoman Empire was very extensive in this 16th century time period. So post 16th century, you enter 17th century, like 1701, 1705, slowly the power declines. Fine, so Ottoman Empire is first pushed out of Europe. So all the countries which you find in Balkan Peninsula, isn't it? So the Austrian Habsburg Empire is becoming more powerful. It is pushing Ottoman Empire out of Southeastern Europe. So Ottoman Empire declines here. Okay, so last section is washed out. Same thing can be said of North Africa. They're getting pushed out of North Africa also. Egypt is rising. Certain empires in Libya is rising. Is it clear? But Ottoman Empire still holds a large section of territory in what we call as today's West Asian region. Okay, things change or things take a dramatic turn in World War One. Okay, because in World War One you have different sides, and Ottoman Empire loses World War One. It ends up on the losing side. Okay, and whenever an empire ends up on the losing side, it is very usual for countries which have won the war to take up territories from West Asia. So Ottoman Empire was humiliated in those treaty. So after 1919, several negotiations taken up, and then they said, you know what, Ottoman Empire cannot have many territories, and be restricted to a very small region called as Turkey. And all the other regions in West Asia is to be shared between two major countries, two victors. Okay, the victors were United Kingdom and France. Is it clear? UK and France. Example, you take France. France had the protectorate status of today's area known as Syria. You take the British. British had the protectorate or the the responsibility of an area called as Israel Palestine. So depending upon which country wanted which territory, they went for negotiation, and Ottoman Empire was restricted. Now, why should we be talking about Ottoman Empire today? See, understand that Turkey is trying to reset international relations. Fine. In the last 15 years, the leader of Turkey, I think you'd have heard his name, Erdogan. Erdogan is trying to bring back the glory of the Ottoman Empire. His intention, he says that Turkey needs to rise towards the same powerful state as it was during the power of the Ottomans. Fine. Now, what impact is it having in the international stage and in cultural relations? Let me draw a picture in 1919. What happens immediately? Post 1919, after Ottoman Empire is restricted, there are several reforms which go up in Turkey. Fine. There is a leader, Kemal Pasha, who's called Ataturk. Ataturk. And he takes up power in Turkey, and he completely changes completely changes the political and cultural being of Turkey. He says that if Turkey needs to develop, if Turkey needs to become a powerful nation, you're talking about 1919, 1920, Turkey needs to become a modern state, and it needs to move away from different primordial values. You get it? So he wants to create a secular country, and he actually did. He created a secular country called as Turkey, where he tried to avoid association with a single religion like Islam or Christianity, and said, my country will be secular. Fine. I'll tell you one cultural impact what he did. If you go to the regions of West Asia, be it Arabic language spoken in Saudi Arabia, or Farsi, which is spoken in Iran, or Turkish, which is spoken in Turkey, all of them write from right hand side to left hand side. Okay, not a conventional way of writing, or not. I shouldn't use the word conventional. Your Western style of writing, or you take the Indian style of writing, we tend to write from left hand side to right hand side. But you go to the languages in West Asia, for example, you take Farsi, Persian. Okay, like this is called Iran. This is Iran. Okay, Iran. So you write from right hand side to left hand side. You know what Ataturk did? Ataturk did, okay, fine. What we'll do is, similar to that, you have your own Turkish. He said, we don't want to use these alphabets. He said, we don't want these alphabets. We'll create our own alphabets based on Greek and Latin. So he retained the sounds, but he created his own alphabets. He said, we want to be modern. Okay. So he created a set of modern alphabets for Turkish. You do one thing after the class. After the class, you just Google for pictures of Turkish in the older alphabet and new alphabets. You'll find that they are totally different. Okay, like this will be more close to Greek and Latin, the Greek alphabets. Is it clear? Now, why am I talking about this right now? Like after this, Turkey went on a secular path. But if you take the recent activities of Erdogan, Erdogan is more oriented towards institutionalization of religion. And the resultant, as you would have seen in recent news articles, this, I think I'll be able to write the spelling properly. Usually I mess it up. It's Hagia Sophia or Hagia Sophia. Fine. Hagia Sophia was initially a church, then it was converted to a mosque, and later it was agreed by both the religions that it has to stay as a museum because it is considered as a symbol of Turkey's composite culture. Because I had several questions when I was teaching in Europe itself. Many asked me, sir, you are teaching Europe, but you did not teach Turkey. The reason is Turkey is both Asian and European. You can call it as a Eurasian country. It's a mixture of both cultures. So people felt that this Hagia Sophia, which is present in Turkey, is a symbol of its culture because you have both religions combining together. You have intense history towards them, and they've always seen it as a museum. But I think the recent news, like Erdogan has said, like it will be again, we'll have it as a place of worship. I know we'll consider it as a mosque again. Okay, so Erdogan is trying to not just transform the country, but also he's having a lot of power play between countries like USA and Russia. And if you read the news yesterday, he's having trouble with Greece also. Okay, regarding the ownership of Cyprus, regarding the ownership of several islands and seas in the Mediterranean region. Okay, so Erdogan always creates a lot of stutter in international relations. So please keep a watch. Like his activities will definitely bring about a lot of impacts in this region. Okay. Yeah, Hagia Sophia. Is it for yes, oil exploration? Can understand the alphabets part, sir. See, the point I'm trying to say is Ataturk wanted to modernize Turkey. And when he said he wanted to modernize Turkey, he wanted to move away from everything. The alphabets I gave was as an example. Like even the alphabets, he said, it should not be something which we were using for so long. We should try to change that. We should go for a different alphabet. Okay, that is the reason I stressed on these alphabets. Because moving towards modernization and changing your simple alphabet. See, I'll give you a better example. It's like this. Okay, for example, let's say that this language, Tamil, okay, people are using the same alphabet for 2000 years. Okay, now they decide, what, the alphabet is a very old alphabet. We'll modernize our alphabet. Okay, we'll modernize our alphabet, and I say I'll come with a completely different alphabet which has no relation in the format which it is written. For example, this is how you write A in Tamil. Is it clear? Maybe I'll invent my own alphabet. From now on, this will be Tamil A. You get the idea? Like you completely transform it. That's what it did. Like, see, I'm giving crude examples there, but I think you get the idea. Like what he really intended to do. Okay. Is Turkey a democracy or not? Of course, Turkey is a democracy. How can Turkey claim Cyprus? See, understand Cyprus is a divided country, and I think you clearly know about it. Like one part of Cyprus is with Greece and one part of Cyprus is with Turkey. And this debate did not start recently. It has been going on historically. Okay, because they want this island in Mediterranean Sea. So one section is with Greece and one section is with Turkey, to answer the question. And is it a democracy? Yes, it is a democracy. And please understand, Cyprus has its own flag. Fine. But you have two different administrations in Cyprus itself. Is it clear? So I think you get the idea. So you can't say like Cyprus as one country, because there is a question which says, is Cyprus not a sovereign country? Yes, but within Cyprus, you have a segment which is held by Turkey itself. Okay, so please note that the island is divided. You have a segment for Turkey and a segment for Greece. So that ends the discussion for Turkey and relevance to international affairs. Now proceeding further, after Turkey, you would have seen Lebanon. Okay, and Lebanon, I'll just mention the major industry. It's travel and tourism. It contributes to 1/3 of the GDP of the country. Like 1/3 of Lebanon's GDP, 1/3 of Lebanon's gross domestic product. Okay. Now, Syria, you would already know, like in terms of ISIS. I'd like to introduce two major cities in Syria. You should know these cities. Let me use the map section and zoom in it for you. Yep. these two places, Aleppo. I know that Damascus is already introduced, the capital city. Aleppo. See, Aleppo is a culturally very rich city. Before the invasion of ISIS, like before ISIS, if you look at the demography of Aleppo, it again had, similar to how we have Istanbul, Aleppo also had a composite culture. You had a significant population of Christians and Muslims living together without any conflicts. Like once ISIS spread into Syria, people did not have any other option but to migrate outside of Aleppo, isn't it? So Aleppo's size is reduced by more than half. Its population is reduced by more than half due to the attack of ISIS. ISIS destroyed many monuments in Aleppo also. So there was a question in 2018 also. So you should know that Aleppo is in Syria. After Damascus, like this is the most important city. It used to be the largest city in Syria, but now it is broken down. Okay. So now we need to talk about this country, Israel. Okay. So just hold on. Let me just check if there are any other queries. Why Hezbollah made their center as Lebanon? It's a why question. I don't think I can take that. See, for example, it's like asking why is Taliban in Afghanistan? I don't know how to answer that question. Okay. Fine. There is one more question. Was Lebanon under French rule? I'm definitely not able to recollect. I've already told you Lebanon's industry is travel and tourism. Is it clear? Why do we have a consulate in Cyprus? Again, I'm not aware of that. Can Hagia conversion seen as an election tactic? Possibly, yes. What is important in Turkey? See, I did not mention a specific industry or economic activity in Turkey because you really cannot pinpoint. Okay, like Turkey is found in many domains, but at the same time, it is not the leading exporter of a specific commodity. Like if it held at least 10% or 15% of a good or service, then I could have told you, this is the most important export. But, fortunately or unfortunately, we don't have that. Is it clear? Damascus, apart from being a capital, does it have any other significance? No. Aleppo, many religious people were living friendly. Past tense. Please listen to the class. I told before ISIS, I've actually written it on the board. Before ISIS, people were here. Now, large number of Christians had to migrate out due to the attack of ISIS. They are still not returned back. Okay. Now, let me go back to Israel-Palestine conflicts. And after that, I'll take the set of doubts. See, please listen. Okay, just keep that mobile phone chat box away. Let me complete the entire thing. I do know that certain segments were already dealt with in bilateral relations. Fine, I need to start from historical part. Then I need to go for Israel's current economic activities also. So please be patient. Let me finish the entire set. Then you pose your questions. If I know the answers, I will let you know. Okay, like this is before bilateral relations, not current affairs. I'll be dealing with the historical part. Jerusalem. Jerusalem has remained the holy land for three religions. Okay. And these three religions were brought to life by three prophets. Fine. You had Prophet Moses for Judaism. You had Prophet Jesus for Christianity. You had Prophet Muhammad for Islam. There is one irony here. All these three individuals never call themselves as gods. Fine, they considered themselves as normal human beings. They only came to spread the message of God. But the irony is, when each and every individual came and left the earth, okay, like each one of them, they didn't create it, but based on their name, people create their own religions and they start fighting. Now, this is what your theology teacher would tell you. And each and every religion has their own explanation on why this place, Holy Land, is important to them. You take Judaism. According to Judaism, the land which is known as Palestine, okay, is the land which was promised to them by God, promised to Moses by God. So they claim that we are the historical descendants of this land and we need it. Fine. You go to Christianity, you take Prophet Jesus, most of his life, it is either spent in Bethlehem, which is very close to Jerusalem, or in Jerusalem. Okay, so Jerusalem and Bethlehem are the two cities where he spends most of his life, so considered very holy, where it is believed that a man, Jesus, lived. So you take Prophet Muhammad, Fine. Usually we associate Prophet Muhammad with the cities of Mecca and Medina, which we have in Saudi Arabia. And according to stories in Islam, Prophet Muhammad, after his death, like it is believed that he ascends to the heaven on a winged horse. Fine. Near a place, near a mount, okay, which is near in Jerusalem. It's called Mount Sinai. Mount Sinai in Jerusalem. So that's where he ascends to heaven. Again, so the point you need to understand is these are theological descriptions. Different religions have different stories and myths to explain why a particular land is important for us. Let me give you the geographical factor. Remember, it's all about location. All about location. I'll give you a few seconds. Okay, let's see whether you can guess it. Tell me what are these three circles. I know it's a Venn diagram. Okay. Just tell me what are the three circles. That's all. Let's see whether you can take it right. Three religions. No. I told you it's not theology. No. Not Sinai Peninsula. No. Good. One person got it right. Asia, Europe, and Africa. It's all about location, location, location. Jerusalem has been important for more than 2000 to 2500 years because this land is through how we can connect all these three different continents. When I say this, immediately a doubt would pop up in your mind. So that's not true, isn't it? Like if I look at the map myself, the atlas which I have, it's not just Jerusalem. I have different cities. I have sea routes, and through these sea routes, I can move between all these three continents. See, understand, we are not talking about a modern world where you have enough technology, enough infrastructure, where you can create your own routes, isn't it? Back then, cities originated only in areas where all the other factors enable cities to prosper. And Jerusalem was one such city. If you leave out Jerusalem, you did not have many regions where roads had interconnection. So all of them need to travel to Jerusalem, and only through that you can exit or enter these three continents. So economically speaking, okay, the person or the king or the empire who controlled Jerusalem will be able to control the trade and movement in this area. And if I can control trade, I can levy taxes, I can collect money from them. So that is the reason people always wanted to hold Jerusalem. Is it clear? Now, the fight for Jerusalem is not new. It has been going on for very long. Fine. So if you look at it from the Jewish perspective, Jews initially populated the lands which was close to Jerusalem. Okay, this land which is known as Palestine. They were first driven out close to 2000 years back. Okay, so long back, approximately 71 AD, Anno Domini. But you ask me by whom? By the Romans. So Romans captured Jerusalem, okay, at 71 AD, and they forced Jews out of this land because Romans did not follow the religion of Judaism. They later take up Christianity. They do take up Christianity, but before Christianity, if you look at their religion, before the emperor converts, they were following pagan religion. Pagan religion is you have your traditional Greek gods and Roman gods, isn't it? You have so many gods. You take Hinduism, for example, you have so many gods. Fine. So similar to that, in pagan religion, you have so many gods. God of thunder, God of agriculture, God of love, everything. So this was the religion which was followed by Romans. So from pagan religion, they later moved to Christianity. Fine. And Jews follow Judaism. So there was religious issues, and Jews were driven out of Jerusalem in 71 AD. Fine. After this, for close to 2000 years, different emperors and kings will try to conquer. I'll just mention one event, Crusades, for example. This is just one example in the 2000-year conflict, Crusades. Okay. Crusades is a conflict in the name of religion. In the name of religion. Okay. Where a significant section of rulers said that we fight for Christianity, and a significant section said that we fight for Islam. Okay, we fight for Prophet Muhammad. And they tried to capture this land. And you had three different crusade wars. So this was in 1100, 1200 AD. Why I mention crusades? Because crusades is one of the bloodiest wars actually, where people fought on religion. It is not just in modern world. You have so many examples in medieval and ancient history where people fight based on religion. This is one example. So later, you fast forward. Now I'll come to why we discussed about Ottoman Empire. You take the Ottomans. So Ottomans' power rises, 15th and 16th century, they rise up. So when the power of Ottomans rise, they capture the land of Jerusalem, okay, the region which is called as Palestine. So this comes under the power of Ottomans. Is it clear? Now, let me fast forward to 1914. So as I told you, from 16th century, slowly the power of Ottomans were declining, isn't it? So in 1914, World War I starts. During the war, in 1917, there is a declaration by United Kingdom, okay, by Arthur Balfour. Arthur Balfour. He's a minister in the cabinet of UK back then. And the declaration stated this very explicitly. Arthur Balfour's declaration stated that UK, so we will support the creation of a Jewish state in Palestine. Is it clear? So this is something which United Kingdom says before the end of the war. See, look at the year right now, 1917. That's why it's very particular. World War I is still not over. Britain is fighting, France is fighting. On the other side, you have Russia, you have Germany fighting, you have Turkey still fighting. So the war is still going on. But before the end of the war in 1919, United Kingdom comes up with this declaration, known as Balfour Declaration. Now, you need to clearly understand why. Just let me know whether you've taken this part, then I'll proceed. Okay, like we need to understand why this happens. Okay, so have you taken till here? Very good. We'll proceed further. So why did it happen? Well, at the end of the day, all comes down to this. See, reason is, no one expected World War I to go on for 4 or 5 years. Okay, they expected the war to be over by 11 to 12 months. No one expected a 4-year, 5-year war, especially by using modern weapons, because modern weapons have immense destructive capability. So you start your war in 1914, fine, 1915, 1916. By 1917, most of the country have emptied their coffers. Fine. Now, how is it related to Jews? Well, if you look at the profession which most Jews are involved in, or a significant percentage was involved in, they were involved in finance industry, banking. You get it? And in the middle of the war, you need money. So United Kingdom thought, like, if we at least say that we'll be in a position to move enough funds for continuing the war. So that is the hidden intention, not explicitly stated. Okay. So war continues in 1917. War ends in 1918. Treaty is signed in 1919. Now we need to see from two countries' perspective. Turkey is defeated, so power of Turkey reduces. Okay, but Britain wins the war. Where is Britain? Yeah, we'll write it now. Britain wins the war. Okay, now Britain takes control of that area which was Palestine. Okay, so 1919 it comes under British control. Fine. I think you would have definitely heard it in bilateral relations. So after that, I think I can fast forward. Okay. Yes, I will hold my speed down. There's one request. Just let me know that I can proceed further. Since I'm switching over from iPad to board, maybe you find the difference. Okay. Which religion came first? It is Judaism. Judaism. Okay, previous slide is this. Make it faster. Oh, sorry. Do you know Persian? Actually, I'm learning Farsi. That's why I was able to write. Farsi is a musical language, I like poetry, so I'm learning the language. Maybe by the end of 1 year, I can comfortably say that I know Persian. So right now, I'm learning. Still don't know. Okay. I think you know about Farsi poets, man. For example, Rumi. Rumi is a great poet. You should read his Masnavi e Manavi. You can get the translation online. The PDF will be available. Okay. Rumi is one. Hafiz is one. Is it clear? People don't start the fight on world's first language. I'm not getting into the fight. Okay. They will say Tamil. They will say Sanskrit. I'm not getting into that. Latin, Greek. Is it clear? I think we have enough. We've spent enough time. Shall I proceed further? We just need to see what happens after 1919. Yep. Yes, good. Okay, this is the world history part. I should have taken it out properly. No problem. So, 1919, once United Kingdom takes the area, now UK is very powerful. Turkey is not in a position to compete with any other powers, and Turkey is minding its own business. It is going for internal modernization and transformation. Now, with UK's support, okay, this land, which is known as Palestine, okay, now Jews can come and settle. Okay, so Jews slowly begin their migration to different parts of Palestine. So let's say this is Jerusalem. Well, let's say this is Jerusalem. No, that's very far away. This is Jerusalem. So people come and settle. You need to understand the settlements were not initially contiguous. Not contiguous meaning maybe they bought land here, they bought land here, they bought land here. So different parts of land of Palestine, they're slowly coming and settled. And they send messages to their friends also. Like, we are purchasing land, we're trying to create infrastructure, we're looking for funds. So please support us. Fine. Now UK support is there. So slowly, very slowly the process goes on. The process goes on for 20 years. And in 1939, World War II breaks out. And you know a very important individual, Adolf Hitler. Hitler was very aggressive against Jews especially. Okay, and they were massacred in large numbers, institutionalized massacre. You know, Hitler had mechanisms how to kill people easily. You know, first they killed people with bullets and bombs, and Hitler felt that, you know, it is costing a lot of money. So they strip people naked, then they push them inside a large room and they fill it with poison gas, mustard gas and poison gas. So that kills people. So when you open the door, like, people just fall off. Let's hope that no one is born as virulent as Hitler. Okay, he was, it's possibly, you know, it kind of shows what a man can do when he has power. So when he has such an aggressive person like Hitler, Jews from all over Europe, like, Hitler was winning the war for the first 2 years, 2 to 2.5 years. So people had to migrate from Europe, and all of them had nowhere to go. And now you see Jewish migration exponentially increasing in the land of Palestine. So by 1945, that is the time where World War II ends. Fine. You look at the population in the land of Palestine, it is 50-50. 50% are Jews right now, and the 50% are the original Arabs. Okay, so these are the original inhabitants, okay, like of the people who are known as Palestinians, were literally living in this land for hundreds of years. Fine. So now let's see what happens after 1945. In 1945, you know, a major organization, United Nations organization, is already formed. And it is believed that UNO will play an important role in negotiating multiple disputes between countries. And in United Nations, the trouble between Israel and Palestine is brought, that a conflict resolution mechanism should be facilitated to solving this issue. Is it clear? When the issue was brought out, the discussion went on for 2 years. And I'll just tell you the situation in 1947. You take 1947, by the time when India was getting independent, it was mostly agreed that maybe we should go for a two-state solution. Two-state solution meaning you divide this land and provide one region to the land for Jews and one region to the Palestinians, the Arabs. So the conflict resolution is done, a two-state solution, similar to how they had for India and Pakistan, like how British separated India and Pakistan. So this was the proposal. The proposal was under discussion. I want you to understand it very clearly. It was under discussion. It went for several rounds of talks. But there was one problem. Well, what is the problem? See, there was mistrust. People did not know what to do. You know, what if the Palestinians, join with other Arab countries and then try to attack us? You know, that was the intention of Jews. And the Arab nations were thinking, what if Jews equip themselves with militarily, they become strong, and then they force Palestinians out of this land. So even though discussions were going on in United Nations organization, there was mistrust among different groups which were there in West Asia. So that was the situation there. And in 1948, in this confusion and distrust between different parties, for the first time, now only we are using this word, the Jews declared that they're starting an independent country, a sovereign nation called as Israel. So they declare a country. So far, he did not have any declaration. But in 1948, they decide, so we are an independent nation. We'll be sovereign from now on. This is our flag. See, now the Arabs were thinking like we were in a discussion, isn't it? So even though there was mistrust, they did not put the first step. So once Israel declares, war breaks out. So you have your first Arab-Israeli conflicts. The first war is in 1948. There is one more war in 1967. The third war is in 1973. So 3 wars, and Israel fights against the Arab powers. Surprisingly, even if you had powers like Saudi Arabia, Egypt, you had Syria on one side, you had Jordan on one side, in spite of all that, Israel won all the 3 wars. And this is what happens, isn't it? Every single time when Israel wins a war, its territory kept on expanding. So that is how today's border of Israel is actually obtained. I think you're able to understand. So 1967, 1973, it captured places from Syria. It captured places from Jordan. You'd have learned about Golan Heights, Jordan River. It also took places from Egypt, but due to better negotiations and diplomacy by Egypt, the land was given back. Okay. So if you're ready, let me go to the today's map of Israel. Okay, so just let me know. Yes, one response. Yes, good. There is a question which says, why did Hitler hate Jews specifically? The honest answer will be, we don't know. We only have conspiracy theories. But there is no proper explanation what made Hitler so mad when it comes to this conflict. Okay, so this is your, yeah. So this is the region which we see as Israel today. And this region is internally divided. I think you know that, internally divided into 2 parts. Approximate border. Okay, so you have 2 regions. One is called as West Bank. So this is West Bank. Oh, it's not clear. Sorry. Maybe black would do. We'll write it here. West Bank. And this is my Gaza Strip, a very narrow area. Gaza Strip. So the point is, in this white color region, the population of Jews is dominant. And this is what we traditionally call as Israel. And these regions, so which is in red here, and this region, which is again in red, which is kind of shaded, So this is the region which is considered as Palestine, like it is still not an independent country. But in this population, your Arab population is more. So this is where Arabs are more. Arabs. And here Jews are more, the white color region. So this is the present condition. And I think after this, the current affairs would have been dealt in bilateral. Now let me ask you a question first, then I'll take questions. Okay. Fine. I told you, let me ask one question first, then you ask. See, there are several questions coming up. Please hold on. Let me ask one question. I know that. Please wait. Just hold on. Let me ask my question, then I'll take those. See, simple question. You tell me, why can't we go for a 2-state solution? Like, why is this not possible? Why can't we go for a 2-state solution? Why can't we simply divide? Okay, fine. Jews take this area and Arabs take this area. Why can't we do that? That you answer, then I'll take this up. Water dispute, not exactly. Security reasons, not exactly. Israel backed by US, not exactly. Now answer has come. Good. Okay. Yes. There were several answers, and like many people repeated the answer. One word answer is Jerusalem. Now let me zoom. I think now we can see it very clearly. Not clear. I think now it is clear. Fine. Problem is with Jerusalem because Jerusalem is divided. One part of Jerusalem lies with the land of Jews, and one part of Jerusalem lies with Arabs. So if you are to go for a two-state solution, then this land which you see as Jerusalem will be divided, and no religion wants a land to be divided. See, like you say it's the Holy Land, no one wants you to divide. That's the reason you can't go for a two-state solution. If you want a two-state solution, then you need to have your army barracks, everything, guns, fences in Jerusalem. You need to separate the area. That's the reason it never materialized. Okay, so let me take your questions now. Please hold. There are several questions. Okay, are Arabians the original Palestinians? Again, I'll tell you, who are the original Palestinians is quite difficult to answer. Let me explain. Why is it difficult to answer? Like, what do you mean by original here? Like, are you saying that if the individual was staying in the land for 500 years, is more original than the person who came 200 years earlier? You know, does it mean if the Jews say that we were living in the land 2000 years earlier, does it make them more original than the person who came 1500 years later? So defining what is original is very difficult. See, I'll tell you the same problem which is happening in India also. Who came first? Dravidian race, Aryan race, that debate we have, isn't it? So many, like, we are the first migrants, we are the second migrants. We have so many problems. Just like it is very difficult to define, like, who exactly are the original inhabitants of the land. Same thing is true for the land of Palestine also. Like, it depends upon the year whom you look, which year when you look at it. So there are several, again, conspiracy theories on why Hitler might have hated Jews. I'm skipping that. Why is USA supporting Israel? Okay, because the dominance of finance and banking industry is still relevant today, and Israelites, Jews, still hold a good lobby in United States Congress Assembly. Like, they have their own lower assembly and Senate, isn't it? So funding is still provided by Jews. And I'll give you one more fact. If you look at Jewish population in the world, Jew population, after Israel, the second largest population is today in United States. So I think you have 6 to 7 million Jews, if I'm not wrong. 6 to 7 million Jews live in land of Israel. And in United States, you have 5 million Jews. So second most populous country for Jews. Okay. So does Jerusalem belong to Israel, Palestine? I already told you, Jerusalem already is divided. One is held with Israel, one is held with Palestine. Okay. How one religion got diversified into other religions, first Judaism and then Christianity, goes like this. Judaism is the original religion. And if you take Christianity, we have, there are two, they celebrate, isn't it? Good Friday, and then you have Jesus Christ reborn. So Jesus Christ gets crucified. And after he gets crucified, it is believed that Jesus Christ is coming back again. Reborn meaning not as a child, but he comes back alive. Okay. So those individuals who believed that Jesus Christ came back again, took him as their prophet, and they diverged from Judaism, and then they moved to Christianity. Okay. Those who did not believe that Christ, didn't, I think the right word is redemption. So Jesus Christ did not redeem from his crucifixion. They continue to remain as Jews. Okay. I'll take a few more questions. I think you got the difference. Okay, there were several answers. Just hold. Yep. Answers. Resources administration problem. Okay, how one religion diversified. India supposed two-state solution or not? I'll take that question regarding India. Okay, why they can't split into two-state? Okay, there is a question why they can't split into two-state. Maybe there was a network issue. So please note, Jerusalem is already divided between Israel and the land which is called as Palestine, okay, where Arabs live. So if you go for a two-state solution, Jerusalem will have to be divided. No one wants to divide Holy Land. I'll take the question of India. Is Jerusalem open for visits? Can anyone from any part of the world visit? With restrictions. With restrictions. Okay, it's not that For example, there are sections which Israelites you don't want to see also. So that, you know, like even if a representative from Indian government goes, fine, there are limitations. It's not that every part of Israel, in every part of Jerusalem you can visit. Okay, when was the term Palestine coined? See, Palestine has been the traditional name for this strip of land. That's the traditional name. As I told you, the word Israel is first as a country get it only in 1948. Before that, it was called as Palestine itself. One person has said Jewish population is highest in US. Possibly, recent census data. So again, there is this question on India supporting which side. Yeah, resurrection. Thank you for the word. I was searching for. I know it is. I was thinking redemption, rejuvenation. I forgot resurrection. Good, resurrection of Jesus. That's the word. Okay. Okay, if Jerusalem is already divided there, then why not state solution, sir? Can you see Jerusalem getting divided means like, see, still this part which is called as West Bank is not a country. You get it? Like Palestine is still under the control. Like Palestine does not have a recognition as a sovereign nation by many countries. If many countries recognize Palestine, Palestine will have its own flag. It will have its own military. You get the idea? Then the organization which is operating in Gaza Strip will not become a terrorist organization. Maybe they'll become part of Palestinian army itself. You get the idea? So recognizing will make it official division. Now you have a population which is dominant on one side of Jerusalem and a population which is dominant on the other side of Jerusalem. I think that makes it very clear. Okay, like there is a difference between being official and unofficial. You say it's double, that's it. Israel says there is no Palestine before 1947. See, you yourself, okay, so which version should we believe? You yourself said Israel says. So I think you got the answer. Okay, was in Jerusalem under UN? Jerusalem is UN administered. Who recognized Israel as sovereign? Why Israel makes Gaza blockade and Gaza Strip? Because Israel says that you have terrorist organizations operating here. Okay. I think other questions were again and again repeated on UN administration. See, again, I'll come to the current status. The current status of UN administration, I'm very sure I'm not aware of this because you have a selective list of powers. And which list is coming under United Nations, I'm definitely not aware. Which parts of Jerusalem comes under? Fine, but I definitely know that a segment falls under Israel and there is a segment which is held on by West Bank. So powers of administration, I'm not aware. Okay. How does people in West Bank get basic things? Does Israel take care or who? Israel really doesn't take care. Like if Israel takes care, they wouldn't try to block Gaza Strip. They wouldn't try to block West Bank also. Israel tries to choke both of them. Is Judaism and Parsi same? No. Let me come to Iran. Please wait. Okay. Why not Palestine declare themselves as a country as Israel did? See, even if they declare themselves as a country, other nations should recognize it. See, if I say that I recognize Palestine, I should start my diplomatic mission. I should send my ambassador. Fine. And if I need to do that, I should be very powerful. Because if I'm going to recognize Palestine, then I'm going to antagonize United States of America. USA is not going to be happy. You get the difference. So that's the reason people don't do it. Difference between Persian and Parsi. I'll come for that. Okay. Why don't Christians fight it as a holy place? I don't know, man. I really don't know. See, it's essentially a fight for land. I think it's enough. We've dealt with many questions. So one question, I'll tell you the question which I wasn't able to deal. I think that'll be better. So this UN administration of Jerusalem, that I'm not very sure. Like which powers fall under UN, which powers are under Israel. It's not that the entire region is done by United Nations. That alone I'm sure. But I'm not really having clarity on the power division exactly. So that thing I think bilateral, sir, you can email him and get the answer. That there might be changes in current affairs. So if I update you, it won't be right. So that question alone regarding this United Nations, you can take it up. Let me end with one. I was about to answer one thing. Yeah, this India, like what is the status of India with reference to this? See, understand India's mindset. See, India does not recognize two-state solution initially. Let me finish. Please hold on. India usually does not support nation creation based on religion. Let me explain why. Because we believe in secularism. Okay, you take your fundamental rights in our constitution, we have rights for minorities. So we never wanted Pakistan to be created. Okay, because Pakistan said that we are creating our own country and this is for Islam. Okay, they said that there is a threat in India, but India never accepted. India always said, we will remain secular. Like Pakistan might say that India is a Hindu country, but we'll never accept it. We will remain secular. This was our policy. That is why we never support nation creation based on religion. If you're going to go for two-state solution, what you say is, Jews, you take Israel. Then you Palestinians, you take, Arabs, you take the land of Palestinians. We don't want that division between Judaism and Islam. This is traditional Indian mindset. So until 1990s, if you look at India's relationship, India actually did not have a good relationship with Israel. No, we did not. Fine, like we supported Palestinian cause only, mostly. Fine. So we never really interfered in dealing with Israel also. We said, Palestinians need to get their own country. Like they've lost 3 wars also with the Arabs. So India never really supported Israel at the start until 1990s. So close to 40 years. What happened? Well, everything is governed by national interests. Everything is governed by national interest. 1999, Kargil War. See, we did not expect this Kargil skirmish because during the winter season, when most of your soldiers on the Indian side get back, because at high mountains it is very, very cold, so they need to get back. Fine. We did not expect Pakistan to come and attack us. Fine. So it was a very crucial attack and we did not expect an attack. So you're always taken back, even if the attack is very minor. At that time, Israel was very helpful to India. Timely help. Okay, they sent weapons and from now on, if you look at from 1999, India's deal with Israel and Palestine will be very, very different. So if the Prime Minister of India or President of India is going to this region, there will be one envoy for talking with Israel, there will be one envoy for talking with Palestine also. And if Israel is trying to blockade Gaza, India will release a statement. India wouldn't say India is condemning the state. India is very concerned about human rights issues which is happening. Okay, so we are trying to kind of float the barriers between both these places. We don't want conflicts because they have given us timely help. So this is India's stance right now. So if you ask me, does India support two-state solution? Whatever is good for India, national interests, if both sides agree, India will do. Like India is not supporting any one single side here. I want you to understand. Okay, things have changed. Initially, we supported on the Palestinian cause. Then we managed. Is it clear? Yes, Indian diplomacy. Good. Okay. So I think now I can proceed further. Could the need for US support be also taken as reason for India's support? Yes. Good point, good perspective. Good. See, others are with reference to Persia. Yeah, thank you. I think we have spent enough time. People, it took me 1 hour. And this was bilateral issues. And this topic is already over. Now we need to talk about exports from Israel. 2 major industries. 1/3 of Israel's revenue comes from information communication technology. So 30% of Israel's is ICT. We're also there in diamond trade, 10%. Okay, and post this with reference to India, you already know that's defense technology. Okay, so apart from these exports, you should know 2 things about Israel. They are pioneers. Pioneer meaning introducing a thing for the first time, very first time. So introducing something, pioneer. He pioneered this idea, he pioneered this theory, he pioneered the methodology. So introducing for the first time, 2 things. Number 1, drip irrigation. Drip irrigation, like today we say drip irrigation is one of the most efficient methods of water conservation, but it actually came from Israel. Why did it come from Israel? Because Israel is in a desert climate. It's in a desert climate. So you're in a desert climate, you want to conserve water. And the amount of land which is available for agriculture is also less. That is the reason they went for drip irrigation. So they started this idea and they've developed it exceptionally well. Like they've gone for multiple levels, integrating artificial intelligence in irrigation. Number 2, nanosatellites. Immediately I say nanosatellites, you say it's a 10 power minus 9 satellite. No, that's not nanosatellite. See, one of the biggest challenges in satellite launching is the size of the satellite. Okay, depending upon the size of the satellite, I need to use more and more fuel. Most individuals think that when it comes to satellite launching, most of the energy is spent on the size of the satellite. No, it's not that. If you compare the size of the satellite, it'll be very less. Okay, fuel will be higher. For escaping the Earth, okay, you'll need to have immense amount of velocity. You would have learned it as escape velocity in your 12th standard. So to put the satellite in orbit, you need to overcome Earth's gravity. So fuel is very, very high. Normally, satellites weight, like this is before nanosatellites, before, like it'll be 100 kilograms, 150 kilograms, extremely heavy. So what Israel did was reduce the size of satellite. They said it's not necessary to build very big satellites. You can build satellites like 3 kilograms. See, look at the size reduction. So it's like 97% reduction. If I do that, then the fuel tank size will automatically reduce. So 3 kilograms or 5 kilograms, they introduce smaller satellites. The beauty is it'll be for very specific applications. Only after this, many universities started adapting that, like universities from USA. Like if you're a student and you're very good in, tech, electronics and communication, aeronautical won't. I think ECE is fine. Integrated with aeronautical, fine. So then you can create your own satellite. You need to get government permission, of course. But the point is this idea came from Israel. You get news articles stating that ISRO has launched 20 satellites in one good go. So we are able to do that because of this idea brought up by Israel. Okay, so I'll proceed further. Just let me know whether you're ready. That's with the tech contribution of Israel. You should know this. Okay. Mission Mangalyaan, weight reduction, good. Thank you. So now let me go to the map section and let's Mangal, just hold. Where is my, yep. See, let me make one thing clear. All the countries, major export will be oil and natural gas. I don't think you have any doubts here. I'm not going to repeat it again and again. Saudi Arabia, oil and natural gas. Iran, oil and natural gas. Oman, oil and natural gas. All of them have oil and natural gas as their major exports. I think that's taken for granted. You know that already. Okay, so we've taken Syria, Lebanon, Israel. Jordan is not a global player, but in Saudi Arabia, you need to know 2 locations, Mecca and Medina. Mecca has the largest mosque in the world. Mecca, a largest mosque in the world. And like it is one of the 5 duties of a Muslim. Like if he has the capacity, if condition, he should do his pilgrimage to Mecca at least once in his lifetime. Okay, so Mecca you should know. Yemen, it is in civil war. I think that you already know that. Civil war. Just let me know whether you've taken down. I just need to zoom in because I think Yemen is fine. I just need to zoom in on one island here. Just let me know. Yeah, good. So let me just zoom in. I don't know whether it was handled. See, this is an important island, people. You find right here, Socotra, S-O-C-O-T-R-A. This island belongs to Yemen. Please note this. If it's not clear, S-O-C-O-T-R-A. It's off the coast of Yemen and off the coast of Somalia also. Okay, so at times there is confusion. Does this island belong to Somalia or Yemen? They might ask you an arrangement. Socotra is in which ocean? Atlantic Ocean, Indian Ocean, Pacific Ocean. So it's in Indian Ocean, a part of Arabian Sea. Socotra belongs to Yemen. S-O-C-O-T-R-A. I think I've given enough time for that. Now, moving to Oman. Oman, you'll need to know this place. Strait of Hormuz. Please don't make this error. Strait of Hormuz. H-O-R-M-U-Z. Okay. Strait of Hormuz is where 1/3, we write it here, this place. 1/3 of world's, what am I writing? 1/3 of world's oil trade moves in. Because you have so many countries in this region. You have Qatar, you have Bahrain, you have Saudi Arabia's port, you have Kuwait, you'll have Iraq, you'll have Iran. So all of them are suppliers of oil. So ships need to move in and move out. So 1/3 of oil trade. Usually people make an error. Please look at it carefully. Only 2 countries control Strait of Hormuz. Fine. One country is Oman. Please note here. Oman is a broken country. Most of Oman is here, but a small segment you'll find it on one side of Strait of Hormuz. On the other side, you have Iran. Other side, you have Iran. Okay, please note it is not United Arab Emirates. It's not that. It's Oman on one side and Iran on the other side. Please note. Strait of Hormuz is controlled by Oman and Iran. Okay. There is a question, why is it economically costly to go to Mecca? Flight charge, man. Flight charge, man. That's all. To go from Chennai to Delhi, you know how costly it is. Mecca flight charge, you can calculate, no? Ready? Yeah, thank you. So, let me just move in to Kuwait and Iran. Yes. See, Iraq, I believe you know about Saddam Hussein. My focus is on the geographical part. So let me take you to your physical map. Just hold. Where is my, yeah. So rivers will be clear here. There are 2 major rivers in Iraq, and they were the foundation of the earliest civilization in the world. So far, based on our dating, carbon dating, rivers Tigris and Euphrates, 2 rivers. Let me write it for you. Tigris, 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 and Euphrates, Euphrates. These 2 rivers served as a foundation for Mesopotamian civilization. Mesopotamian civilization. See, back then, Iraq was the cradle of life, and today it's the cradle of death. That's about life, cycle. 3,000 years later, maybe again, Iraq will rise up. Tigris, Euphrates, Mesopotamian civilization. Just let me know whether you're ready. Need to go to Iran now. Now I'll address your questions on Farsi, man. Persian, you asked, no? Zoroastrian religion. Not visible. I'll kill you, man. I've written it in such big block words. Yes. So now let's go to Iran. Iran is not about politics. I want to address some cultural meaning, and then I'll come to physiography map again. See, Iran is the land which is known as Persia. Iran. So this is what is called as yesteryear empire, Persian Empire. And please know this very, very carefully. Arabs are different. Okay. Sorry. This is the separation point. This is Iran or Persia. Okay. These are my Arabs. They are ethnically different. It is said that the biggest insult to any Persian or any Iranian is to call an Iranian as an Arab. So never, if you have any Persian friends, you should have Persian friends if you go get Indian Foreign Service. Any Persian friends, any Arabic person also you meet, please don't mix them and get beatings from them. Please be careful. Persians are different. They're culturally different. Okay. And Arabs are culturally different, ethnically different and culturally different. So first get that idea clear. Fine. And initially in Persian, the land of Iran or the land of Persian Empire, before the birth of Islam. So Islam starts in Arabia, and from Mecca and Medina, it spreads out to different countries. So before Islam arrives to Iran, you had a religion, Zoroastrianism. Zoroastrianism. Okay, so Zoroastrians worship fire. They worship fire. Okay, and later, let's say Islam is born in 7th century, 8th century. After Islam spreads to Iran, fine, you have different migrations starting from Iran to India. For example, if you can look from the Indian perspective, you move along the coastal area from Iran, you'll reach the states of Gujarat and Maharashtra. Like after Iran, you have Pakistan. After Pakistan, you have the western coast of India. Gujarat and Maharashtra. So since they came from the land of Persia, Zoroastrians, we have the word Parsi. You have heard this word, no? Parsis are merchants. You might have learned it in history or modern Indian history. If you look at your Indian National Congress, like the Parsis would have played a very important role in initiating the organization. Fine. So that's the reason they call them Parsi, from the land of Persia. So that's the migration. At the same time, there is one more theory. For example, you take this word Iran and this word Aryan. There's one more theory which says this word Aryan is derived from Iran because it's from Iran that you have wave of Aryan migration. Okay, that's again one more word derivation. Fine. So now let me continue further. I think you get able to get the relationship. So let me explain what is the difference between Persian and Parsi. Just let me know. Just clarity on certain words when you come across them in news. Dada Bhai Naroji, very good. Tata is also a Parsi, good. Cyrus Mistry, Tata, Homi Baba, good, good, good. Persians who migrated to India are called Parsi. Yes, yes, that's how they got the name. Aryans came from Iran. Like you will learn it in ancient Indian history. It is from steppes. Okay, it's said that the name Aryan is derived from Iran. Nauroji, Firdunji. Okay. Have you been to the fire temple in Chennai? I don't know whether it's a nice question or an insult. I haven't gone to. Sorry for that. Year of migration, I'm definitely not aware. So thank you. That's it. Yeah. So let me proceed further and tell you. See, Persian is a umbrella term for several languages, like 3 major languages. They have something called as Western Persian, Eastern Persian. For example, in Persia, that is in Iran, what is spoken is Farsi. Okay, this is the language in Iran. Fine. You go to Afghanistan. Like we haven't seen Afghanistan, we'll see now. It's very close. In Afghanistan, you have Dari. Like these are very close languages, Farsi and Dari. Just like we say, what example should I give? Tamil, Malayalam, and maybe Hindi and Bhojpuri, I think will, yeah, maybe. So it's very, very close. Fine. And you also have Tajiki. Tajikistan, you'll find a country. And in Tajikistan, you have Tajiki. So this language is again coming under Persian. So it's that you have branches. Fine. So Farsi, Tajiki, Tajikistan, and then Dari in Afghanistan. All 3 together come under the umbrella Persian. Okay, I think now we are able to get the difference. Fine. Hindi, Urdu, Persian, Dari. Good. Yeah, that's a very good example. Very good. Yeah, thanks for it. So I think I'll proceed further. And let me go to the physical map now. I need to show you 3 major mountains. And with that, I think I'll give you a break. There's 3 mountains. The first is this. First, we need to look at a mountain range in 1, 2, and I think I'll show you this first. See, I told you Caucasus, isn't it? I told you Caucasus is a mountain range which separates. This is where you find Caucasus Mountains. Right here. C-A-U. I messed up the spelling in last class. Please note. C-A-U-C-A-S-U-S. See, if you look at it, it's Caucasus Mountains which form a cultural division. It's a cultural division between Georgia and Azerbaijan. So on the other side, you have Russia. Okay, so on this other side, you have small countries like Georgia, Azerbaijan, Armenia, and others. That's why Caucasus is an important barrier. Okay. Caucasus. So cultural barrier, political barrier. Mountains always serve as cultural, political, language barriers. You take Tamil and Malayalam, Western Ghats will be there. Fine. I think enough time I've given. Next, in Iran, again I told you, isn't it? Like Arabs are different, Persians are different. You'll find one more mountain range here. Zagros Mountains, separating Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabian region. Zagros, Z-A-G, it's not clear, R-O-S. Zagros Mountains. Western Iran, so you can clearly see, it's an important mountain range. Western Iran, separating Iran, Iraq. Iran and Iraq. And last one mountain range is there in Turkey. I'll write the name here. It's right here. Like north of Cyprus. Right here. Taurus. T-A-U-R-U-S. Taurus Mountains. So these are three major mountain ranges. We've seen Strait of Hormuz and we've seen Persian Gulf also. Okay. Zagros, is Russia Europe or Asia? Russia is, see, just like how Turkey is a Eurasian country, Russia is also Eurasian. It's composite of cultures. Is Iraq Arab? Yes. Iraq is part of Arabia. I mean, Iraq is Arab. It's part of this same ethnicity. Okay. Please give break. Take break, 5 minutes. So first, let me address the doubts here. There are 2 to 3 repeated doubts, and then I should proceed. See, there is this question on like the cultural barrier thing. See, I'll just zoom it for you again. See, this is the maybe the pixel size is not that good. See, this is the region where you find Caucasus Mountains. Caucasus is right here. So you can clearly see Caucasus Mountains separate Russia with Georgia. Fine, it separates Russia with Azerbaijan. It's a barrier. So that answers 2 to 3 questions. There is one more question. Taurus is in Turkey. Yes, it is in Turkey. What's the third mountain of Iraq and Iran? See, I would have told this mountain between Iraq and Iran. It's the Zagros Mountains. Zagros, Z-A-G-R-O-S. Zagros Mountains with Iran. There's only one more question. Is Georgia part of Europe or Asia? See, I'll settle the debate right now. Please wait for Russia. I'll settle the debate right now. That's it. Others were. Is Caspian Sea the largest lake? It should be, I think. Let me get the facts right. It should be. I don't think we have such a big water body. It should be. Yeah, it should be the largest lake. Okay. Yeah, I'll continue with it. Is there an Armenian Christian quarter in Jerusalem? Sorry, I'm not aware of that. Okay, I think we can safely go. So I think these questions are answered. Let me start with Russia. So picture this. George and, X and George, it's not George and X. X and George have crossed over to Caucasus Mountains and they keep walking for some time. After a point of time, the only mode of transport they found was bullock cart. There is no bullock cart in Russia, so it is illogical. So cow is the key word. Cow in Moscow. Cow. C-O-W. Cow in Moscow. Even if it is not visible, I know you know the spelling of Moscow. M-O-S-C-O-W. Moscow. Okay. So after traveling with the cow now, cow in Moscow, they need to eat, isn't it? They ran away from rock. It is quite difficult. So they eat, keyword coming up, burger. They eat burger in St. Petersburg. Burger in St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg. St. Petersburg. Burger in St. Petersburg. Fine. Now, after eating, both X and George discussed, see, we are out of money. Like when rock chased, I had to start to run for my life. I really didn't take my wallet with me. So now they need to do some stunt to get money, isn't it? See, when you perform these road stunts, people will give you money. So they decide, okay, we'll do this stunt. So they decide to play music on the road. If you play music, at least people will give you some coins, and using those coins, you can survive. Fine. So what they do is they attempt a different mode of music production. They are already in a burger shop, isn't it? So they buy more burgers. So picture them collecting burgers, or 5 to 6 burgers. So picture this. I collect 5 to 6 burgers. I connect all the burgers. And after connecting, I make them into a violin and I start playing violin on the road. You get the idea? So a violin which is made by burgers, keyword coming up. So let me just zoom out. See, and this is not your normal violin spelling, the V-I-O-L. We'll be using a different one. Let me write it here. The spelling is this. V-Y-O-L-I-N. Violin. V-Y-O-L-I-N. The mnemonic stands for major rivers in Russia. Let me highlight one by one. Number one is Volga. Volga. I'll write it V-O-L-G-A. Volga. Number two is Yenisei. Like those are the Atlascan trace. Yenisei. Y-E-N-I-S-E-Y. Number three, V-O-O. O for Ob. That's all. This river Ob. Ob is a major river. It flows into Arctic Ocean, similar to Yenisei, O-B. That's it. Ob. And finally, L. L for Lena. Lena you'll find in the eastern part of Russia. Again moving into Arctic Ocean. L-E-N-A. Lena. Like if not the regions, I think at least the names you should get it clear. Volga, which moves in. All the other three rivers, Yenisei, Ob, and Lena, all three of them empty into the Arctic Ocean. So just let me know whether I can proceed. You're stuck in the previous one. Zagros, Taros, another mountain. I told you Caucasus, man. Those are the three mountains. Yes, thank you. So let me continue with the story again after violin. Okay. So usually you play this stunt, you won't get much money. Other logic. That is logic. So, but you do the stunt on the road, assume that there is lot of money. Fine. So they collect all the money, X and George, and after collecting money, they buy a car. What do they buy? A car. But there is a speciality in this car. This car can travel in sea. You get the idea? So let me find it for you. Right. Yeah, it should be fine. Okay, so they're buying a car, and this car can go through sea. So car and sea keywords for Karac, K-A-R-A-C, that's all. Car which can travel through sea, car and sea for Karac. Got it? Next. This car, don't picture a normal car, picture a laptop shaped car. What car? Laptop shaped. Laptop shaped car. So picture this. Okay. So X is here, George is here. So laptop shaped car riding on the sea. Like they've drawn it on land, it's moving over sea. Okay. Laptop in Laptev. L-A-P-T-E-V. Laptop in Laptev. L-A-P-T-E-V. Okay. Now this is a special laptop, isn't it? It's very special, which can ride over sea. So special is the key word. Special in Siberian Sea, East Siberian Sea. Siberian, S-I-B-E-R-I-A-N. Okay, Siberian Sea, S-I-B-E-R-I-A-N. Special in Siberian. Let me know that you've taken these three water bodies. Karac, car which can travel through sea. Laptev sea. Okay. Good, very good. Let me proceed further. So special in Siberian Sea. Now, let me tell you what happens. So they're traveling in this laptop shaped car. At that time, George is here, X is here. Okay, there is a huge thing which rises up from the water. Okay, so a very big animal. Big animal. Let me draw it for you. Okay, so what is this animal? Anyone? This animal? Ayyo, I think it's okay. Yeah. What is this animal? Let's see whether you can guess properly. Easy. Rabbit, Pikachu, Pokemon. No, one person got it right. Very good. Bear. That's the keyword. This is my teddy bear. Okay. See, I'm a geography teacher. I can draw maps well. Animals, no chance. Bear in Bering Sea. Bering Sea, you would have discussed before Alaska. B-E-R-I-N-G. Bear in Bering Sea. Okay, so the bear rises from the river. I mean, not the river, the sea. Fine. And this bear is negotiating with X and George from Bering Sea. It says, see, I like this laptop shaped car. I want it. Okay, I'll give you something in return. Listen carefully, keyword coming up. Big bear and X is negotiating. It says, I will give you something in which you can fly away. What does it say? Something in which you can fly away. So it opens its mouth. Okay, it opens its mouth. There is one more word you can use for the word use for mouth. It's opening its jaw. It is opening its jaw. Okay, and inside the jaw there is a pan. Inside the jaw there is a flying pan. Jaw plus pan. Japan. Jaw plus pan. Japan. Wait, Japan I will show now. Jaw plus pan, Japan, I believe you've taken down. Let me just come down. Japan. Okay, Japan is here. Fine, so they take the flying pan. So X and George are flying now. They're flying. They are like, okay, why did we buy that stupid car? We can fly automatically. That's a very nice bear, no? When they're talking, they realize there is a problem. This flying pan does not have enough fuel. Okay, like after some time, it falls down. Keyword coming up, listen. They fall into the core, C-O-R-E, core of a peninsula. Core of a peninsula. Core means central region, the center, core of a peninsula. Core in Korea. Core in Korea. Core in Korean peninsula. So once you fall in the center, you'll break it into two. So core means center. So once you fall in the center, you break it into two. So there is breakage. North Korea, South Korea. That's all. So you find two variation in colors here. The color variation will be fine for me. This one. Yeah. Find a light shade and dark shade. So North Korea and South Korea. So when both X and George fell down in the core of a peninsula, the peninsula breaks into North Korea and South Korea. And in this process, they hurt their chin. What do? They hurt their chin. China, that's all. Chin in China. Got it? Chin in China. Chin in China. Japan clue, jaw and pan. I'll repeat again, bear was there. The bear, this is only bear. Bear opened the mouth. So it is opening the jaw. Inside the jaw, there is a flying pan. So jaw plus pan, Japan. Okay, so using that flying pan only, they are moving out. Okay, now we got it. Yes, fine. So shall we proceed to description now? We need to look at Russia. Okay, why didn't I discuss Georgia and Armenia? Because again, not economically or politically important. Kuwait, same thing. See, Kuwait has very rich resources of oil and natural gas, people. Since, see, Kuwait has so much of resources, had so much of resources, and Saddam Hussein wanted to capture Kuwait. So in 1980 to 1988, there'll be Iraq-Iran war. 1988 to 1989, Saddam Hussein will try to capture Kuwait. It will become a huge issue, and United States will come and say, get out. Okay, so Kuwait, oil, everyone knows. Mongolia waits, people. Mongolia waits. Please wait. Let me start with the description part. I know the Crimea is over. So at that time, I'll come for questions. So let me finish Russia and then we'll go to contemporary problems. Yep. Russia. See, first appreciate that you did not have something called as Russian civilization 1,000 years ago, Russian Empire 1,000 years ago. No, not at all. Because this region is very, very cold. If you look at it from physical map, you would know. So this part, there is my, yep, this tells you. This region of Russia, this very large region, is an extremely cold place. Very, very cold, very hard to survive. So because of Russia's inherent coldness, you do not have many cities or populations. But things change over a period of time, isn't it? Like that, on one occasion in 14th century, one region became powerful. Okay, so mostly if you take Russia, if this is my entire Russia, okay, and the western part of Russia, which was relatively more bearable temperatures. Eastern side is very, very cold. Western side, to an extent, the temperatures are bearable. So here you had city-states, very, very small regions, very small. They're not very larger. So one such city-state, very small. City-state means you have an urban center and that urban center will be supported by a rural area, and that is the entire region which it is controlling. You're not talking about a big kingdom. So this city state went by the name Moscovia. Okay, so after 1331, like this is the breakthrough year. Well, like why 1331? Like based on rulers and administration, if you properly document the expansion of Moscovia, it's from 1330s that this Moscovia begins to expand and take over multiple regions. And you can say properly empire construction in Russia begins after 1480. So 1480, the ruler is Ivan III. Ivan III, and slowly, very slowly, what starts in the western side begins to expand towards the eastern side. So Russians explain that when you expand, it's not about being very fast like United States. United States, if you think about it, expanded from eastern side to western side in a span of 60 to 70 years. But Russia expanded very slowly for 300 years. Okay, and by 1780, they would capture Alaska. If you remember, later they sell it. Okay, so by 1780, they have a huge extent. That's when Russian Empire reaches the maximum potential. So then you have something called as a very large Russian Empire. So from 1800, if you look, Russia will be a major player in international relations. Now let me fast forward to World War I. Okay, now I've come to World War I, 1914 to 18. Answer clearly, simple question. Did Russia win the war or lose the war? World War I. Win or lose? Make it faster. Win or lose? Lose the war. Win, lose, win, lose. One person, yeah, now people are getting the answer. Now a correct answer came. Many people have given win or lose, but some said, sir, it withdrew from the war. Okay, now why did it withdraw from the war? Back then, who initiated World War I proceedings, the emperor was Nicholas II. Nicholas II, and Russian kings were called as Tsars. Tsar means king or queen of Russian Empire. Okay, and Nicholas II had his own internal set of problems. Even though Russia was a very large empire in terms of employment opportunities, inflation, agricultural development, compared to Western European nations like the rise of Germany, like the rise of Italy, rise of United Kingdom, rise of France, he really did not have Russia as a huge interplay. And Russia began to stagnate after 1850s, 1860s. So he had many internal problems, and problems become very severe around 1914. Because after World War starts in 1914, Nicholas I begins to concentrate on World War, like how should I win the war? So when the Tsar is concentrating on external problems, he did not focus on internal problems. And internally, there is a revolution which is going on in Russia. Okay. And this revolution is based on the principle of communism, which was later given proper shape by Karl Marx. Okay, so these ideas were, slowly penetrated the population, and not just the idea of communism, you also had the idea of democracy slowly penetrating the population, and they were calling for a revolution against Nicholas II. Okay, they wanted to overthrow Nicholas II. So Nicholas II decided at 1917, he said, see, there is already problems internally. I can't continue World War I. So he comes back. Irony is, when Nicholas II withdraws from World War I and comes back to deal with the internal problems, already revolution has become very severe. Fine. And in 1918, there will be two revolutions in Russia in which the Tsarist empire will be completely overthrown. The first revolution will be in February. Fine. But this February revolution will not be sustaining. It does not have the right policies. The Tsarist family gets killed, it gets massacred. There is so much of political turmoil. But the second revolution in the month November, which is called as October Revolution, is led by leader Vladimir Lenin. Vladimir Lenin. And for the very first time, what was learnt as theory in communism, what was learned is a theory which was written by Karl Marx was properly put into practice by leader Vladimir Lenin. Is it clear? So just let me know where I can flip over. Okay, so Lenin gets things back. Yes, there is a relationship between Stalin and that also. Why the nickname Ivan the Terrible? I really don't know. I'll get back on that. Okay, thank you. See, October or November, it is based on the calendar. Russians were not using the Georgian calendar back then. Okay, so depending upon what calendar you use, it is termed as either October Revolution or November Revolution. Just the change in calendar. Is it clear? So it is called as October Revolution, but in a certain calendar, it is the date of November. See, you're in 1917, okay? Back then, there were different sets of calendars which were used. Now, what you need to understand is when Lenin takes over power in 1918, still things are not settled because Russia is still in civil. Like yes, the communist nation is established, but still there is internal struggle. Still, civil war is not over because Lenin led a group of people who were called as the Reds, the communists, and they were fighting against the whites. Fine, so they wanted democracy. They did not believe in the principle of communism. So this civil war went on for 2 more years. Like if you look at the administration, Lenin will be running, but the problem is not solved. So people were waiting, but Lenin will succeed. So by 1920, the trouble between Reds and Whites will completely dissolve. And once it dissolves, you have a non-disturbant USSR. So legally speaking, if you say USSR, they will say like USSR is born in 1919 itself. Okay, I use like it is 1919, there is no question about it, but I use 1920 because 1920 is the time where the whites are completely put down. So Union of Soviet Socialist Republics. The point you need to appreciate is this USSR was not composed of one single country. It was made of 15 countries. 15 countries. The Soviet bloc. Okay. One of the countries is Russia. One of them is Russia. Okay. To proceed further. Okay. This idea of communism as a practice of USSR continued only for 70 odd years. So maybe we'll take 1919, that's the year you want to. USSR as an idea survives only till 1991 and then it disintegrates into 15 other countries and Russia, that is modern Russia, like today's political boundary, isn't it? So modern Russia is reborn again. So today's political boundary is what you find after 1991. So after breakage, you have Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Ukraine, Georgia, Armenia, everything getting scattered, blasted. And Russia is reborn again. So if you're ready, let me go to physiography part. And we look at how Russia's geography makes an important role. Why did the Soviets invade Afghanistan? Soviets wanted to instigate a puppet rule in Afghanistan. They wanted a puppet who will be more friendly to them. Why did they disintegrate? See, the question on disintegration, I will tell you when I deal with China. China and Russia are very much related. Only if I go to China, in China, we'll discuss the problem with communism. Why the philosophy of Marx, overlooks something very fundamental. So I can deal with that and then I'll address this question. You'll get more clarity. Please be patient. Okay, I think I can proceed further. Thank you for the responses. So now we'll need to go to the map section and need to understand the curves of Russia's geography. This should be fine. Yeah, it should be fine. Let me zoom in. Yeah. See, what you see is the largest country in the world. Okay. Let's see, I think I have a better one. Should be a better one. I think this is better. Yeah. See, what you see is the largest country in the world. It's so extensive. And first, if you need to study Russia, you'll need to start from this mountain. So let me draw the barrier here. It is called Ural Mountains, U-R-A-L, Ural Mountains. And the Ural Mountains are considered as the boundary which separates Russia into European part of Russia. Like they usually say, water comes to the western side of Ural Mountains is to the European part, and what comes to the eastern side is my Asian part, usually say. But you need to understand that two factors. First of all, Ural Mountains are not very tall. You want to say a landmass is a mountain, it needs to have an elevation of at least 1 kilometer in height. Ural Mountains in many areas, they don't have that elevation. Second thing, Ural Mountains is not a contiguous boundary which strictly separates western side and eastern side. It's much easier for you to move between these two areas. Okay, you can move in between also, it's possible. But for political science discussions, they say that this is the barrier. But I want you to understand that this is not a very strict barrier because the elevation is not very high. And second thing, it is broken in certain locations. So you can move between these two areas. Now, how should I approach Ural Mountains and how should I look at it? Well, you need to look at it in terms of population and resource distribution. So if you look at most of Russia's population, fine, 80% of Russia's population will be on the western side. Only 20% lies on the eastern side. You get it? You take major cities, you take Moscow, St. Petersburg, you take Volgograd, all of them lie on the western side. Fine. You come to the eastern side slowly, because I told you the Siberian region, Siberia, S-I-B-E-R-A, the Siberian region is extremely cold. Like after Antarctica, this region is the coldest place on earth. Is it clear? So because of that, you don't find much population. Fine. You won't find many cities here. You'll find some scattered cities here and there. Is it clear? Number two, but in spite of this, when it comes to resources, 80% of resources is on the eastern side, whereas only 20% of resources is on the western side. That's the irony. So it's a give and take. 80%, 20%. That's how things are. Is it clear? Now let me end with this question and then I'll go to exports. Okay, just one question. Simple question. Give me a single word answer. A single word is okay. At least give me a single sentence answer. Okay, question? Clear? Why did Russia annex Crimea? That's all. Why did Russia annex Crimea? Let's see whether you can give me a proper answer. Black Sea. Black Sea is relevant answer. Ports. Very good. Yeah, I think you got it. Black Sea. Good. So let me just recollect it for you. You need 2 locations for that. Let me just put it for you. Okay. This is not good enough. So first, we need to know this place. See, I think you can understand where I'm zooming in. Okay, we're going to northwestern Russia. And in northwestern Russia, I'm going to show you a port. This one. Let me write the name. Just understand you find a port here. It's Murmansk. M-U-R-M-A-N-S-K. Murmansk. This is the ice-free port of Russia. Ice-free for at least 10 months of the year. At least 10 months. Because on the western side, you have warm ocean currents. So they keep the waters warm. So you can operate the port pretty much around the year. Is it clear? Take it down. I think you would have noted the place where it is. But this does pose problems for Russia. Let's see it from a larger zoomed out perspective. Okay. See, this country, which you see as Ukraine right here, was part of Russia until the year 1991. They were same. They were part of USSR. Even if I have a port called as Murmansk on the western side, it is possible for me to move in and out. There is no problem. But trading is different. At the same time, having my military ready all the time is totally different. Is it clear? Fine. if you have an enemy like United States of America, which was the Cold War from 1960s, from 1950s to 1990s, you want to make sure that your submarines, your navy is perfectly operating, because they'll be enough for launching your nuclear attacks in the United States. And Murmansk is not a very ideal location. Let's say it is winter season and the entire region is covered by glaciers. Even if your port is ice free, it's not easy for you to move in and out. That is when your Crimean Peninsula or Sevastopol. Sevastopol is a place where you have the Russian Black Sea naval fleet. Fine. So this location has always been important. After 1991, once Ukraine became a separate country, Russia lost the Crimean Peninsula to Ukraine. Is it clear? So Russia always wanted this peninsula, and that's where they captured it. Now, why so much fuss for this place? Well, you'll be able to understand if you can connect these regions. So let me do it for you. Like, if I'm going to have my military base here in Sevastopol, right here, it's in Black Sea. Access points are simple. From Black Sea, I will move through Istanbul. Okay, here I have Bosporus Strait. From Bosporus Strait, I will enter Mediterranean Sea. For Mediterranean Sea, there are two access points. You have Strait of Gibraltar. So through Strait of Gibraltar, my navy can enter Atlantic Ocean and take the fight directly to United States, Canada, and South American nations. Okay. If I enter through Suez Canal, I'll enter Gulf of Aden and I take the fight in Arabian Sea and Indian Ocean. I can fight an East African fight in Australia. You get the entire link. That's how we need to look at the world. So if I access or if I'm able to capture Crimean Peninsula, everything starts here. Is it clear? So it's one small location, a small opening right here in Turkey, in Istanbul. If not for that opening, then geopolitics will be totally different. And that opening facilitates and says, Russia, I need to have Crimean Peninsula no matter what. That's the reason Russia wanted Crimea. I think you get the connection. So I'll repeat again, Crimean Peninsula. So this is Bosporus Strait. Bosporus Strait. So through Bosporus Strait, I'll enter Mediterranean Sea. Okay. I think I'll write it on a whiteboard. Shall I go for the whiteboard? Just let me know. Might be done in bilateral, but still. Yeah, just go to the whiteboard and make this connection clear. Because if I write here, it'll be too mangled. Just get that alone. So Black Sea. Black Sea is connected to Mediterranean through Bosporus Strait. Bosporus Strait. So from Bosporus Strait, you access Mediterranean. From Mediterranean, you access Atlantic Ocean. Atlantic through Strait of Gibraltar. Strait of Gibraltar. And from Mediterranean Sea, you access Indian Ocean. Indian Ocean through Red Sea, of course. First, you need to go through Red Sea. Yes, and from Red Sea, you go to Indian Ocean through Suez Canal. So that makes Black Sea's Sevastopol indispensable for Russia's defense. Black Sea to Mediterranean Sea to Red Sea to Gulf of Aden to Indian Ocean, Black Sea to Mediterranean Sea through Strait of Gibraltar, North Atlantic Ocean, kill United States of America. I mean, Russians, not me. Okay. Why don't they go the other way around, from below the Alaskan side? See, I'll come to the eastern side. See, winter season is the problem. I can operate in summer. Winter season, all my sea areas, isn't it? It'll be frozen with glaciers. See, it's like this. Let's say my port is ice-free. Am I blocking the board? Yeah, fine. Let's say my port is ice-free. If I need to go from here to there, this area, ice and glaciers should not be there. If I am alone ice-free, glaciers are there, how will I move? You get the region. Winter season, Arctic Circle will be covered with glaciers. That is why you need a place like Black Sea. Okay, I think that answers that. I think you got it. Is it clear? That's the reason you don't want to use the Alaskan side. Winter, freezing, marked by glaciers. Okay, so just significance of Vladivostok. Again, I'll show you the place. Okay, I think I need to show the place, then talk about exports of Russia and close. Not much of scope. Now, you really took a lot of time in Israel-Palestine. I should have been more careful. I never looked at my watch. People, you need to learn a lot. Never get stuck with one issue. Aral Sea. Aral Sea is a small area, people. It really does not have enough water right now. Just look at, I'll just show you Vladivostok and then first I'll write the exports and then show you Vladivostok. See, major exports is fossil fuels. It contributes to 40%. Fossil fuels, both oil and natural gas. Especially natural gas, they have very good resources. 40% of Russia's economy. After this, process from fossil fuels, they are very good in fertilizer industry. Fertilizers. Is it clear? Fertilizer industry. So you need to know one more place, Vladivostok. I'll just show Vladivostok, and I think with that we'll close the class. Defense and diamond. Okay, see, understand. Yes, Russians are very good in defense. Yes, Russians are very good in nuclear technology. Now, these things come into picture because we are looking at it from the Indian mindset. Because Russians contribute or export large number of defense equipments to India. You look at India's defense arsenal, 70 to 75% will be we would have bought from Russians. Only now we are diversifying into French and United States and Israel. Fine. And nuclear, yes, they have helped us in constructing nuclear power plants also. But please understand, the defense industry of Russia, if you compare it with United States, you compare it even with China, like now they are not, I can't say it's the major contributor to Russia's GDP. You get it? But fossil fuels, the importance is increased. You take all the countries in Western Europe, in one way or the other, they'll rely on either Russian oil or Russian natural gas. Apart from Norway, I'm saying, because not many of them have access to oil. That's why Russia is able to control, keep certain nations to itself, even though European Union is expanding, because Russians have oil and natural gas, and they are able to provide them at a reasonable cost. It's about cost efficiency. That's how they're able to get the market. Fine. Defense, nuclear, I don't deny. But in terms of values, these are better. That's the reason I stressed on these. Fine, let me just show Vladivostok and end the class. Last point for today. Hold on. Vladivostok is an eastern port, eastern side. So I showed you Murmansk here, northwestern part. Similar to that, there is one more port on the southeastern side. Okay, that is called Vladivostok. I'll zoom in. Before zooming in, I'll tell you why this port has some negative. See, just know the location. Put an X mark, okay. Why this port is more convenient for Russia is 80% of population of Russia is here. Get it? So if I'm going to use this port, or let's say I use Sevastopol, fine. I can easily interact with my population, all the goods and commodities I can have. This port is not bad. I can use this port. You can see it is much south. Okay, it's not as north as that, it's much south. I can use Vladivostok, but Vladivostok's problem is, if I get goods and services, see, for example, let's say I'm exporting, China simply exporting. China's right here. They share a very extensive border. Even if I export goods and services, from Vladivostok, I need to, there is Trans-Siberian Railway connecting eastern part of Russia with the western part of Russia. So the goods will need to be taken through entire Siberia. Very lengthy journey, cost. Is it clear? So Trans-Siberian Railway was constructed earlier. Long back it was constructed. So you have connection. But if you look at cost efficiency, like still the western ports are a major player. Like eastern ports maybe, since Russia is increasing its oil and natural gas relations with China, maybe it will get a reboot again. So let me zoom in and give you the name of the port. I think you get the understanding why western ports are more important to Russia compared to an eastern port. So this is the, I'd rather write the name. Just know it is located on the eastern side. You can find it in the atlas. I'll end the class with this, Vladivostok. Please find this place in your map. I was not able to show it. The pixel size was very less. Vladivostok, port on the eastern side. See, and two people have texted that they wanted to send questions, but the email ID was not available. I receive questions, people. Please be careful about the dot. I'll try my level best to finish things in next class. We should start with geography soon, that's why. Gautam.ar@shankara.is.in. Is it clear? So thank you. Thanks for your time. One session or 4 hours. I think I should be able to wrap it up. Then geography. Take care. See you in the next class.